pride will waver not. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. And if I should fall and walk no more, I shall not shed a tear. But war is cruel, my comrades die, and I go on alone. I will not stop to ask them why. I know I can't go home. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. And if I should fall and walk no more, I shall not shed a tear. My back is broke, my armour's rent, my blood is on the field. My sword is gone, my body spent, I lie upon my shield. I faced my foe, they laid me low, but I go with a smile. The labyrinth, it calls to me. I'll wander it a while. The labyrinth, it calls to me. I'll wander it a while. My eyes are clear, my back is strong, my harness free of rot. My sword is sharp, my shield unbound, my pride will waver not. I face my foe, I lay them low, I fight them without fear. And if I should fall and walk no more,
Right, that should be everything sorted. We should all be live. We should be visible to everyone. We are all here. We are doing a thing. Eke, I'm gonna say. Hi, I'm a Plot Crew member. Normally watch the Yeti on YouTube. First time watching on Twitch. Well, welcome to this madness that will follow this. What a beard! Immediate, Rowan. Immediate. The first thing I said to him as well. What a beard. So,
Big beard.
really is. Wow. Until a small pulls it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Subbing 22 months. That's awesome. Oh yeah, well yeah, Pete. Yeah, Pete has the definitive beard in the Brass Coast. It's like the size of him. He said it's a good attempt. Welcome everybody to this the stream. It's been a while actually since I've had anyone from PD on, so this is a very welcome return. Actually, I felt a little bit nervous for about 3 or 4 minutes this afternoon when thinking about it. and very excited, really excited about this. This is going to be a good fun one. We've already had people sneezing out of their noses. It was a wonderful thing to see. It was great. We've had everything. It's been great. I'm looking forward to this a lot. Bit of a little bit of in-house news. There will be no stream on Friday. Me and Helen are going out for dinner. It is our 1-year wedding anniversary, so we will not be here to babysit you bastards, basically. Okay? How else would you sneeze? Fair. That's fair. How's everyone's day been? Been good. It has been good. Chilled mostly. Went and saw my mum, and not done much else, really. So, get in there. So, yeah, so no stream on Friday due to first 1-year anniversary. And then be back on Monday with, I can't remember what. I know there's something planned, but I've forgotten. So, there's that. Other bit of news, big thing for this evening stream. I run a very strict find out in play rule. That rule is going to be massive for this evening, considering the people we have on. So, we can talk about some stuff. We can talk about some things. We will try to talk about whatever we can. Oh, no. Did the internet just drop out for everybody there in chat? Please let me know. Because mine's just come up with welcome to chat. So hopefully it's all right for everybody. Okay, here. Good. But spoilers for Night Plot, yeah. So we'll deal with what we can. I will ask what questions I can. We have a thing of if they can't talk about it, they won't talk about it. It's as simple as. I won't put any pressure on them to answer any questions or anything like that. Okay? So we'll go from there. So it'll be nice and simple, straightforward. But any questions about anything else? We are going to touch on the Apulian orcs because I know that is a massive thing at the moment, and I have had a lot of messages about them. So I probably won't lead the questions on it. I will probably let Rowan and Beth just give a little bit of spiel about them.
I'm going to let Rowan talk about that.
We're just going to let we're just going to let Rowan talk about the Apulian orcs, and we're going to go from there. Twitch is being temperamental with me. Yeah, it seems to be jumping all over the place at the moment. So fingers crossed there won't be any issues. But if they are, just stick with it. We'll come back. Okay. So lots of questions already. We're doing well. So Chris has asked. Well, first of all, do you want to do your introductions about what you do at PD, who you are, where you come from, where did you go? Cotton Eye Joe.
I'm Rowan.
So I'm Rowan, pronouns are he, him. I am on the NPC crew and also a plot writer, although I started at NPC crew and then just sort of fell into plot writing accidentally. Yeah, I do all sorts of different things, wearing various different faces.
Excellent.
I'm Beth. Pronouns are they, them. I'm the head of NPC. I started out as an NPC, and then a few years ago, the previous head of NPC very cruelly, subtly pointed me in the direction of suddenly taking over. Thanks, Bug.
Wonderful. Excellent stuff. That is how we like it.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, two good questions actually. So Chris has asked straight off the bat, How do you start writing plot for Empire?
I believe there are other ways into it, but the way that I got into it was by NPCing for a while and then going like, "Oh, this looks interesting. I have an idea," and that's definitely the route that I would recommend because Empire has a very particular style that it likes plots to run in, and a very different way of writing plot than a lot of other LARPs, from what I understand.
Yes.
Mainly by necessities of scale. But so if you've NPC'd for a while at Empire, then you have just like a background knowledge of how things tend to be written, how briefs work, that sort of thing.
It gives you
And
a sort of vibe for
yeah,
how we like things.
yeah, and there's a lot of overlap between the plot and NPC crews anyway, and so you're hanging out with the plot writers and the other NPCs and chatting about your idea. I mean, we've had several people this year who've had ideas and been sort of chatting about them backstage, and then they've come through into being actual plots. So that's the way I would recommend, but I think there are other ways. What you don't need to do is what I did, which is when I first got interested in pitching a plot, I searched on the public-facing crew wiki, which is a bit that most people don't really know about because there's not a lot on it. But there is a public-facing bit of the crew wiki, which was there when like the game was first set up.
Yeah.
That includes a guide for how to pitch plot at Empire, which was written when the game was like pre-release. And I followed that guide exactly, emailed into the email address that was mentioned within the structure that was laid out in that, and got a reply from Matt going, "Okay, this seems like a good idea, but why on earth have you written it like this?" I was like, "Because you told me."
I think that has been taken down now.
I think it might have been. Yeah, that was a few years back.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so that was fun.
That's very cool. That's a great.
We have a whole plot writing team with a head of plot who I think might possibly be coming to talk to you at some point
next week.
But yeah, NPCing seems to be a really good way of coming into plot writing. We've got other members of crew who are also plot writers. Some of the academy staff, some of the egregores, some of the sort of bards that you have floating around. But yeah, there is a process. I think, like I said, I think you've got someone coming on, hopefully, to talk about that at some other point, who will be able to explain it far better than I can.
Yes, we should say we've got the head of plot writing is coming on, literally, next a week on Friday. So they're coming on, and they'll be able to answer things in a lot more, a lot more detail, I guess, about the process and how you can get involved with them.
And not make errors, because if we try and answer that, we'll answer with some confidence but wrongly, and then you'll just have to get corrected next week.
Yeah. There's a huge question there, but we'll come. That's from Curtis. That's a good one as well. So I'll stick with the current questions, and then I'll work my way down. So they're getting ahead of me already. So and that's only been one question. We're flying. So. Okay, so how about you, Beth? How did you get involved with the whole plot?
So I'm not a plot writer, but I just sort of turned up.
Wonderful.
A friend of mine was involved in the sort of plot team and NPCing very early on. I kind of wanted to come along but didn't want to play, and this was in the days when we were just kind of taking anybody and everybody onto the NPC team back at Tournament Stud.
Yeah. Oh. Those were the days.
And I've just kind of hung around since.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been LARPing for donkey's years. I haven't done a lot of fast LARPs beyond Empire. But I much prefer crewing to playing, because I just get to do more stuff. So, like, I'm one of those people that has about 1 billion character ideas and doesn't actually want to play any of them because that's commitment.
Yeah, yeah, I know that
But
feeling.
yeah, I just turned up about 8 or 9 years ago and haven't left. And like I said, the previous head of NPC, um, unbeknownst to me, was training me as her successor. And then went, "Hi Beth, you're head of NPC now."
I suppose it's one way of getting involved, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's one way of doing it. Okay, but you enjoy what you do, though. That's the main thing.
absolutely. I love it. I much prefer crewing. I get to see so much more stuff, what goes on. And I get the warm, fuzzy feeling of knowing that I've helped create part of this game
Yeah,
and made people's game really awesome.
yeah.
So,
Okay, that's cool. That's good to know, because I think the big thing for me that I want to get across, and I want people to realise, is that everyone who comes on from PD, everyone who's involved is there because it's a passion thing. Everyone's a volunteer, and everybody loves what they do. So, Monster Crew, I think more than most, they're a bit insane. So when the streams that I've had them on, they're all a bit crazy, but the good kind of
No
crazy.
comment.
yeah, they're lovely.
They're armed and they're right next to us. No comment.
They are wonderful, wonderful people, and I love the fact that when they've all finished, they all come down and just chill out with us at the bar in Wintermark, and they sit down, have a couple of free drinks and stuff like that. Not all of them, obviously, because that would make me bankrupt. That would bankrupt the entire hall. But a couple of them I've given free drinks to, and that. So, how does someone become an NPC? I think that's the one asked there, because Esme in chat, she wants to become an NPC.
Email crew@profounddecisions.co.uk.com,
Yes.
whatever.
Okay.
And say that you are interested in joining the NPC team. I don't know if we're recruiting at the moment, but you'll get a response, and we'll have a chat. You'll have a chat with Claire first, and then
Yeah.
then it comes to me.
There you go, Esme. Chuck in an email.
Even if we're not actively recruiting at the moment, we probably will be again, and because it sort of goes in cycles as people decide to go back to playing or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, if you've expressed your interest, that will be borne in mind.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, she thought it would be neat, since I speak Dutch, and that's the language for the South
yes.
Central girls. Yeah, well, she is Dutch, so.
Mention that in your email.
So there we go. So chuck that in the email, Esme, and
Yeah, please.
You'll be Mr. E1 when you're NPCing. So, I'd have to be some sort of creepy, spooky NPC. It's all out there. I've met a lot of these NPCs, and they give such great game to people. I will say. So Peter said, in general, what's the process between no plot and then some plot? What all goes on in the middle there?
Chaos.
There you go.
So from the sort of writing perspective, that's probably better for next week's stream. But from how we get from like a written plot to stuff happening on the field,
There's also chaos.
It is lots of chaos. So some, depending on what it is, either before the event, if it's a particularly complex role, the plot writers will often ask on the crew Discord or on Facebook, sort of, does anyone want to sign up for this ahead of time? Or if it's a less complex brief, or if no one signed up for it, it goes up on a whiteboard and you stick your name next to it. Or Beth goes, I desperately need someone for this, you go.
We're very high tech. We have whiteboards. It's great.
You laugh. I mean, that's the my whiteboard that I've got behind me on the wall there has literally it's got all of my stream notes, it's got plans, everything on it. It has saved my bacon. It really has. Sorry, Rowan.
No, that's fine. So then, there is a briefing document, depending on who's written it. That may be more or less extensive. I know that ones I've written tend to be far too long and have too much information in them, but I'm working on it.
Bullet points.
Because then we've got some laptops in the crew tent, and you basically sit down, read through that. It may have like details about your character, or you may be just sort of, a like Calavesi mystic, for example. If the character themselves isn't that important, if it's the situation that's in detail, at which point you then need to go and make sure that you have a suitable name and things.
Yeah.
There's big racks of costumes sorted by nation, so you then go and costume yourself up. And then you head out onto the field and interact with players, at which point everything goes out the window because it's all different.
I mean, there's costuming, there's the make-upping, there's do you need the props for this, there's the double checking with your plot writer, do you know everything, have you suddenly changed your mind about something, that kind of thing. But that, it's we've kind of got it in a production line now where it's you start at one end of the tent and slowly move towards the exit. It's true.
That's brilliant.
It works perfectly.
It's a conveyor belt of NPCs.
Perfectly is too strong a word.
But yeah, we've got a costume team and a makeup team and a props team who all throw everything at people, and it all works.
Yeah. The other thing that the laptops have, because basically the laptops are all on the on-site network, so they don't have an internet connection, but they can access the PD database and the PD wiki. So if you're playing a character from a nation you've not done much with recently, or that you is interacting with a particular plotline that you've not had much to do with, then you'll spend a while on the wiki reading up on that, make sure you know what's going on, that kind of thing, read any relevant Winds of Fortune, that sort of thing.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, it's nice to know that you're checking things like in triplicate and that.
God, yeah.
I mean, I've had some people who've talked to me about wanting to do NPC crew in the past, and who said like, "Oh, but I just don't know enough depth of the game." It's like, neither do we. We look it up before we go out. I mean, you absorb it over time. Like these days, I know a hell of a lot more about the game than I did when I first started. But that's by playing a bunch of NPC roles and reading up on each one as I did it.
Yeah.
This is the sorry.
I was going to say, NPCing is kind of hard mode because you do need to have at least a little bit of every nation, and you will learn that over time, but it's not like playing where you spend 10 years in the marches or something, and you know the marches like the back of your hand. You have to be able to sift all the different nations and all the different magic and all that kind of stuff through your head.
Yeah, you do have to have kind of a finger in every pie.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of it. Yeah, I think definitely it's a lot of. It's like I have said to a lot of people. It's like, I've been playing for 10 years. No, I don't know everything. There is no one in that field that knows everything. There are probably some people in that field who know everything or like to think they know everything, but they're the sort of people who you don't want to go and talk to when they're drinking.
There are probably some people who know most and have the means to find out very quickly. For some people, it will take them, an hour of trawling through the wiki to find what they need, and some people will just know what search term they need. But fundamentally, no one has memorized the entire game, because why would you? How would you?
Yes, as Curtis, I've just seen in chat, he said Empire is too big to know everything. I will say to everyone in chat, I am working my way through. I'm just going through all the questions as I scroll down to them. So if you have asked a question, I will see it. And if it's suitable, then I will ask it. If your name's Bolum, I'm just not reading it. So, it's a lot of stuff like that, because I always think that to be an NPC, you need to know a lot of stuff, or at least be confident enough to BS your way out of a situation, in an extent, to an extent anyway.
So we have a sort of no blagging rule because we've had some situations where people have tried to BS their way out. NPCs have, they haven't been given all the information for a role, and they've had to blag it, and it's come back to bite us in the ass.
Right, okay.
So we do try and we do kind of have a bit of a please don't blag it unless it's a really simple I'm leaving now kind of
Just
thing. Or
like, as a completely abstract example, if your character has achieved something that you don't know how, and a player asks you, "How is this done?" You go, "Oh, I cast a ritual that this is a secret ritual." But suddenly that changes the game massively. Now there is this secret ritual text that everyone wants to get hold of that achieves something that may be impossible according to the laws of magic. Purely because this NPC was trying to get out of an awkward conversation. It's much better to just say, I don't know, or
you could
it's not important.
You could put in the Hellsinger Bridge rule. You could bring that in if you have seen that, where someone says to him, "How did you do that?" and he goes, "Fuck you, that's how." So there's a nice simple, let's break with everything. I'm glad you weren't drinking, Beth. That's all I can say. But I think that it works so well having that no blagging rule because, you're not going to get yourself into trouble and you've got these strict guidelines. Let's stick with that. Because the last NPC that that I had a proper conversation with was doing a challenge, the Iron Duke thing. And the thing got written off saying that myself and the other person, we were the greatest lovers in the Empire. So that went down really well. And when the Herald came to talk, he came to talk to me, it was just like we don't know how to respond to this. It's like that's perfect. That's what we want. It gets you thinking outside the box. But he was just like, I'm not gonna. He literally just said, he goes, I don't know, so I'm not gonna make some stuff up for you. He goes, we will literally. Can we put this off to the following season? I was just like, yeah, that's fine. So I was tempted to mug him as well, but I don't know how well that would have gone down. But like I said, all my characters are just absolute chaos. So it'll be nice to not be. So sorry, Bolam, you are wonderful, and you do deserve it sometimes. So Curtis has asked, is there any particular type of feedback or information from players that make your jobs and similar departments easier? Is there something you'd like more of?
I mean, we get feedback that goes into the feedback email address. The positive stuff that gets passed on. It is always really nice to hear if something's had a big impact on the field and people have enjoyed it. And that's, as with a lot of stuff in games in general and LARP specifically, enjoyed doesn't necessarily mean like this was nice and I had like a fun time. It can be, this was a really challenging encounter, or this achieved the horror that it was supposed to achieve, or whatever. Like putting in a thing like that's explaining how a thing worked or didn't work, but that is always really good to hear.
Okay, how about you, Beth?
As it's always lovely to hear that stuff is hitting right and going well. Someone's probably going to take me out with a sniper rifle or something, but we love accessibility feedback. If the accessibility for an encounter hasn't worked, please let us know. If it has worked, also please let us know. If like you're going to be doing a tent encounter or something, and you have specific requirements, please let us know beforehand, because even if it's like half an hour beforehand and you get a ref to radio us, it gives us a chance to make that encounter better for you.
I mean, really
but we want this to be accessible for everybody. and just knowing that, you know, you need a bit more light or no dry ice or something like that, we'll do our best. We can't make guarantees, but we'll do our best. But knowing that means that we can do what we can, rather than you then having a rubbish encounter because you couldn't see, or you had an asthma attack, or you had to walk too far or something like that.
So a bit of honesty, a bit of
Yeah.
So if players are struggling with something, or something has happened, so where they were meant to be involved in, say, plot A, B, and C to go off and do this, but they've obviously broken their leg beforehand. Let them know, because then things can be altered if they can, or postponed if needs be.
Yeah, like we can't make everything perfect for everybody, but we'd like to be able to do what we can.
Yeah.
We have a fantastic tent team who build all the tent encounters, who want to know these things so that they can make their encounters cooler for you.
Yeah.
Even stuff as straightforward as just like, I need a chair because I'm not going to be able to stand for the whole thing. Like, great, we've got chairs, we'll put a chair in there.
That's brilliant to hear.
Do that.
That's really, really good. I love the way that he's done it, because I have to say my favourite ever encounter at Empire in all the years that I've been playing has been a non-com encounter. It was a diplomatic mission that I fucked up massively for the Empire and killed someone I shouldn't have done, and it was meant to be non-com, but I got in a fight. Who knew? But it was so much fun. I still see the diplomat and his bodyguard, who I shafted. I still see them walking around, and they keep on reminding me of it. It was so much fun. It was 20 minutes of being stood there, but it was a lot of fun to do, and they did their job so well. They really did. It was great, and if they're watching, I'm going to stab you again at some point, I'm sure, if you're NPCing. No NPC is safe from me. That's all. So,
I don't have my team.
I got involved in a little... Oh my god. I got involved... This was meant to be non-com as well. Just a herald turned up. This was like year 2 or something like that. Year 1. A herald turned up, was meant to just give a message, and I ended up stabbing him like 20 times with a knife and putting him down. And they're just like, why? Can you just go away and leave us in peace to do this plot? Oh, okay.
And this is the reason that Empire doesn't have non-combat encounters. We have combat unlikely or contained.
Yes.
Because there is no accounting for what players will do to your situation.
I would like to think I have been the root cause of all of PD's combat issues early on in game. That's wonderful. Oh dear, excuse me. So Chris has asked, what's your favourite, well, I suppose, favourite type of plot to play? Combat, magic, politics?
So when I started out NPCing, I kind of didn't know what I wanted out of it at all. I tried a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
And I've sort of fallen into doing diplomacy, foreign diplomacy plots. I end up doing a lot of those.
You're good.
Because, yeah, apparently I'm quite good at being a foreign diplomat, which, like, doesn't really gel with any of my skill sets in the real world, but there we go. It seems to work.
Well, as a diplomat, if you ever come into game, as a diplomat, Rowan, if you ever come into game and you see that you're going to be talking to me, just fear for your life.
Don't worry. Partly from my original background is in reenactment rather than LARP, and so I feel weird if I'm not carrying a weapon when I'm dressed in silly clothes. So no matter what I'm playing, unless the brief explicitly says this character is unarmed, then I'm always carrying some kind of weapon. So yeah.
Good. Good. It's because you both said that you've come along and you didn't want to play, you didn't know what you want to get involved in and things like that. So obviously now working behind the scenes, and so you get to Rowan, you get to experience all the plot and the game from as you said, a backstage perspective, and Beth, you get to experience it all from, well, being in charge of all of the crazed loons that you send out into the field.
Yeah. So very occasionally, I am one of those crazed loons.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
I do magic plot and stuff like that. So
Yeah, okay.
I did play for a while. I did it in completely the wrong order. I started out NPCing because a friend of mine dragged me along, which was a massive mistake. I did not know nearly enough about the game. I made so many mistakes. And then I switched to playing because some other friends of mine wanted to come along and they were playing.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun playing Empire, but I never really found what I wanted to do in the game. And my character was just kind of, it was me with a different hat on. It didn't really have any kind of personality traits of his own. And so I went back to crewing. And by then I kind of got enough of a grounding in the game. And that's when I started to really kind of get my teeth into NPC roles. And yeah, one of the best things about it is that you're being given an identity and a goal and an ambition and things that is your ambition for the next 3 hours. So if it's a thing you like, great, you can sign up for more of these roles in the future. If it's a thing you don't like, okay, it's 3 hours, you're fine. Whereas if I create a character for a player character and decide I'm going to really go for politics or whatever, and then I find that I'm not really enjoying it, that's a slow process to turn around from that rather than just drop it and pick up a new one.
Yeah, I think everything that it sounds like you're both saying is that it's fulfilling being behind the scene, knowing that stuff's been delivered, and that you've put something into the game that it, for the player that it's been given to, might be to them, I'll spend 10 minutes dealing with this, but it could be something massive that could end up opening another front in the war, or doing something like that, and they're completely oblivious, and you get to know that that little bit of thread is out there now, and they now need to get and go and deal with all of that. That's really cool. That is really, really cool. So Carl has asked, what words would you use to describe that Empire-specific style of plot? That's a good one.
So one of the concepts that we talk about a lot with Empire plot is leverage, which is specifically for our purposes is how it is fundamentally how big of an impact on the field are you having for how small an expenditure of resources. So the kind of example, and this is one metric that we look at. We do run low leverage plots because we think they're worth it in some way. Like past life visions are about the lowest leverage you could possibly have. On paper, they're a complete waste of resources, but they are definitely worth it because they're amazing. But so the leverage is essentially if I send out myself as an NPC to talk to one player and give them a big important secret that is like the motivating thing for their character for the next 3 events, that's great. They're going to have a great time at that, but resources wise it's a complete waste because we have 20 NPC crew on a good day, and there's 3,000 players on the field, and I've just used one NPC for an hour to talk to one player for an hour. Now if I send out myself as the same NPC to talk to the same one character, but to give them a thing which is going to ripple, which they're going to then wheel and deal with other players, or is going to cause a division in a faction, or is going to cause a quest to go out or something, that's better. If I go out and talk to 3 or 4 people who we know are going to have differing opinions on the thing, who are then each going to try and rope in their friends and so on, then potentially we're now hitting 400 or 500 people for one NPC's 1 hour. And so that's a big thing. Whereas if you're running a linear LARP or a smaller chamber LARP or something, then your number of crew to players can often be 1 to 2, 1 to 3 sort of thing. You can quite happily send your NPC to talk to one person to give them a deep and motivating character secret that they're not going to tell anyone. It's going to affect how they roleplay, but they're not going to tell anyone.
No.
But that's just a waste of Empire.
Okay. So Nick's asked, how many NPCs are at Empire on average?
I've just put food in my mouth.
Don't sneeze. This is the running joke for the rest of the evening, by the way. I apologise.
It varies between events. We've got about 30 NPCs on the books. Normally have somewhere between 15 and 20. I think we ran E1 this year with about 10.
Yeah, E1 this year, I seem to remember there was 12 or 13 scheduled, and then 3 people had to drop out.
Yeah, we had a lot of COVID at the beginning of the year.
So that was
So is it
a stressful event.
a lot of it's down to then just well, you're hoping people will volunteer to come an NPC, or
yeah. So we've got, I think we've got about 30 people who are signed up as NPCs on the crew list. Obviously we have to book, like they book a ticket to say that they're coming. And obviously life happens, so we work by who's booked, and if other people turn up because life has allowed them to turn up, that's great. And if less people can make it because life happens, then we make it work.
Okay. So you would love to say have 50 people turn up to an event and say, can we NPC?
I don't want them turning up at an event.
You'd love to have 50 people email you 6 weeks before an event and say, I would love to NPC at this event.
Yeah. I think we've we have like
surprise numbers are bad in both directions.
Yes. Yeah. There we go. So everybody in chat who's interested, then if you do it now, because then what's it, January, February, March, you're giving Beth 6 months notice. Oh my God, 6 months!
writers.
6 months until the next event.
6 months of no sleeping in a tent.
I miss that though.
I hate it.
I'm a fool. I miss it. So, is there an ideal amount of NPCs that you would like to have on average at each event? Then
we have the monster tent heads of department. We have a meeting after every event, and we have this conversation every event, because it comes down to, so I think I've got allocated 40 spaces, which takes into account how much plot we can physically write, how much costume we have, how much space we have, like how much plot we think we can deliver well in that time.
yeah,
Because like if we have like 50-60 NPCs, we won't necessarily have the plot for them, so they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs.
right.
And there's the pressure on the plot writers to write more and more plot. And the plot writing is quite an involved process. So that we're still trying to find this perfect happy medium. Because like some events we have too much plot and not enough NPCs. Other times we have not quite enough plot and NPCs are sat around twiddling their thumbs, kind of thing.
As we were talking about earlier, there's a bit of overlap between the two teams.
Yeah.
So as more people are writing plot, then that increases the capacity a bit. But the busier your NPCs get, the less they're sitting around chatting and having ideas for what they want to write. So
yeah. The other thing is the more NPCs are writing plot, the less they're actually NPCing.
Also that, yes.
So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it, on that one? So you'd like to have more people volunteer to do both.
There is then also occasionally the extenuating circumstance of some idiot writes a plot which takes several of the NPCs onto the field permanently for the full weekend to be a Pulian Orcs. I'm sorry, Beth.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was great about that? Nobody told me about that.
I didn't actually realise that anyone from NPC crew was going to be full time, because they both told me that they were just signing up for like doing it instead of their R&R characters. But there we go.
Wow. So several of you were off then. Well, yeah, I know there were a fair few Apulians, weren't there?
So yeah, the Apulian orcs, we mainly hired essentially new people for it. We either new crew or crew from other departments who wanted to try something new. But a couple of the people who'd been involved in previous Grendel plot just couldn't say no to the opportunity to go and do the biggest and splashiest Grendel thing they could imagine, and so were essentially permanently on the field at E3
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're going to crack on with some. So essentially, then the answer to Nick's question then is pretty much, how long is a piece of string? With that one, is that so? Ideally, plot writers and NPC crew would both grow at the same sort of time and same speed. So you've got more plot, then you've got more NPCs, and more stuff to put out. That's the the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Right, well, you'll be pleased to know I finally got past people saying hello for questions now. So thank you, chat. So that's Esve's bit. Whiteboards run every low. So what's been your favourite NPC moments, and also the moment that sticks out as you really wishing it happens some other way? That's a good one.
My favourite one was delivering a basket of cupcakes to the military council.
That's awesome.
There was more to it than that, but the look on their faces as you hand them a basket of cupcakes was just beautiful, because they didn't understand the cupcakes.
Well, yeah, I think if anyone turns up with random bits for you, it's always an oddity. But then again, some random people turned up with drugs for me last event, and that was great. I really enjoyed that bit of NPC interactions. They survived. It was wonderful. It was really, really good. So, how about you, Rowan?
I can't talk about the details too much, but my favourite NPC interaction, I think, at least the one that's coming to mind first at the moment, I was doing the foreign diplomat bit, going to make a treaty, and we sat in somebody's tent with various players hammering out this treaty, and I was trying to drive a fairly hard bargain, and they were pushing back on it, and in particular there was a clause about slavery that they wanted me to not do any slaving, and I wanted to do some slaving because slaving is good. And
just a disclaimer there, this is a game.
Yes. Yeah.
Slaving is bad.
Slaving
okay,
is bad.
so this is a game that we are talking about here for anyone who isn't aware.
So we got down to what the treaty wanted to be, except for this one clause that was being really sticky.
Yeah.
And I essentially said, look, I can't make this decision. This is above my pay grade, in character as well as out of character. I need to go and like send a winged messenger and find out, and I will come back if I can. Because one of the rules of NPCing is don't promise to come back, because you often can't. But it was essentially, I will find out and we'll try and get this agreed if we possibly can. So I go off the field. I talk to Matt and Andy, and I say, look, we've agreed this deal that is a pretty good deal, except for this one clause that they're not budging on, which is, they want no slaves, I want slaves. And we're like, well, okay, what we do is we tell them, as a compromise, we'll give the choice, the same thing the Jotun do, of slavery or death, essentially. And that's not really actually a compromise. It's just a different way of wording the same thing, but that's fine. I go back onto the field, find these people who are, by this point, all scattered to the four winds, but I find some of them, and I say, look, I can't go with your version, but I can go with this compromise, slavery or death. And the visible sigh of relief from them all as they go, yes, please sign that. We need this deal. We can't, because while I'd been off the field talking about that, they'd all been talking to the other players involved who'd all gone, what do you mean you're going to blow up the deal over that? That's a tiny issue. We don't care about that. We need the freaking deal.
Oh my god. Oh no.
So yeah, they were very happy to have this small fig leaf of a compromise.
That's really, really interesting as well, because being a player, I hear a lot of stuff, obviously in game as well, about the things with diplomats and stuff like that. So yeah, I hear things like you've just been talking about from the other side. That caused a lot of division when people's like were saying, oh, "That's only small, we don't care about that," and then all the plebs out there, my god. Yeah,
and the fallout
mental
did result in the death of at least one of the people who was in that meeting. So you know.
Yeah, I was aware. That was great. That was really, really well done. That whole thing was brilliant. So yeah, well done on that front. That was awesome. I think you got 2 diplomats murdered.
Fair enough.
Oh no, maybe one and the assistant. People died.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all part of the game. So an old ST of mine, he always said to me that if your character is ever killed, it's because you've made an impact in a game, and that's a brilliant thing. So yeah, that's something that has stuck with me. So yeah, so those players did wonderfully well. They did really well there. Oh dear. Esme says, I love the interaction with the NPC I had during the Ephesus Scale special one because I sent them metallic fruits. Yeah, there was a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people were talking positively about that one. So there you go. So Esme, email that one in. They'll frame it, put it on their wall.
Please do.
They'll frame it. They'll put it on a whiteboard. They'll put it on a whiteboard. Such fun. I did a scene with. Oh, Nick said I did a scene with Rowan, and he was awesome as a secret bite dealer.
Yep, that is actually so. The earlier question had a what was the thing you wish had gone differently. It's not quite that, but essentially, again, it's probably yeah. So, the plot for the secret bite dealer one was pitched as a militia sting operation. I had some bite to sell, and I had some information about my hideout to reveal, but I also had the secrets of the empty heart enchantment, which allows you to kill yourself with 5 seconds of appropriate role playing, essentially, as just like it's a cyanide capsule. You can't torture me for information. I'm out of here. So the militia had been warned of this and were basically there to kind of convince me to take some other enchantment by telling me about how cool their enchantments that they could cast on me were, thus removing it, and then reveal that they were militia and get information out of me. Except what actually happened is I got picked up by some people who were not militia but were very interested in acquiring bite, who dragged me off to their tent to try and secure my supplies. But again, going back to the no bullshitting rule, I was sat there absolutely bricking it because I literally, I have nothing I can offer them. They're doing the whole, we know where your children go to school, here are our thumb screws, that kind of thing. And I'm like, I literally can't, but it apparently was coming across as in-character panic rather than out-of-character panic. Luckily, because we'd been expecting enchantment shenanigans, I'd had a ref assigned to me, and we got partway through this, and it's like, well, obviously we're not going to do any enchantment shenanigans, so let's let our friend in the corner go. And as the ref is leaving, I said, I'm so sorry for wasting your time. And he went, no, this has been very informative. I found out later what he then did was sprinted back to Monster, grabbed the plot writer, and dragged him off the field to push John Fry into the tent. It's like, fix this.
That's brilliant. That's so cool. It's nice to see. It's nice to hear that some of the stuff that happens while it goes differently, you get the response as well. So that's really, really cool to hear, and it seems to be quite instant as well, because I know what the fallout of that was as well. But I didn't realise how. Yeah, that's very interesting. That's so cool. That is so cool. I will say to anybody, if you do want to get involved in the NPC stuff, there's a lot more to it than we are even touching on here. There's so much more to it. I think the details of the fact that we can't go into masses and masses of detail on it because of find out in play stuff, because of FOIP stuff, but you'll have the time. You'll have a great time. So 6 months. So I expect 200 people to volunteer for NPCs right now. Damn it!
I'm sorry, Claire.
Oh, of course, she's got to talk to them all.
And of course, as the great benefit of joining any crew department, but for our purposes NPC, is you get access to the crew welfare hut, which is a magical place full of wondrous treasures.
It's full of Freddos.
There's Freddos, but there's also pot noodles and pasties.
There's a lot of stuff, yeah.
Sandwiches, and it's great.
PD look after their crew.
They really do.
They really do.
Yeah, treated well.
Right, let's give it. Hello, Maury. How you doing? I know that was 20 minutes ago. Oh, right. Okay. So Bolam called Nick, you criminal scum. That's excellent. Empire is too big to know everything. See, that's how far back chat is at the moment. Right, let's just keep on scrolling. Right, next question. Probably did something in a previous life against Hefty about this one. Yeah, more than likely. What's your favourite thing playing as an NPC at Anvil? That's from Red.
And I think the diplomacy stuff, because it's really an interesting challenge to get your teeth into, and it's different every time.
Yeah.
I like doing the weird little roles that are really, really rooted in the nations. So a lot of stuff to do with hearth magic and stuff like that. That's the weird little nitty gritty bits of a nation, or the very weird heralds. I do love a good weird herald.
Everyone loves a weird herald. They're amazing.
I
don't like having to clean off layers of gold paint though.
I don't do a lot of weird heralds because I disappoint the makeup team when I do weird heralds.
Yes.
Because I have less available canvas. Well, I'm working on it. There's more canvas up here every day.
Do you think I should come and be a herald then? Because they'd actually paint everything. They'll just get a bucket and dip my head in it. That'd be awesome. Panda said, imagine the squeak. So this is going back to me killing NPCs. Imagine the squeaky sound of stuff being rubbed off on a whiteboard by a very battered looking NPC coming back into the tent with a lot less loot than they went out with, then just adding a tally to the section labelled Steve.
We need to add a section to the whiteboard labelled Steve for next year.
I'd like that.
That might get a bit confusing given that there are other Steves.
Well, no, I'm not going to explain what the Steve
no.
tag is.
If you do that, take a photo of it for me because I need to see it. That's amazing. Finding out what to do at a LARP is tricky. I found I'd much rather play or NPC rather than ref or backstage crew, as I enjoy the actual character interactions too much. Definitely. I thought I'd chat with some Thule about Valorn would last 15 minutes. Think it was over an hour in the end. It was a good encounter.
So one of the, just very quickly on the sort of leverage concept, the other thing to bear in mind for our resources is that it takes a long time to get someone briefed and kitted up and make up and things. So sending someone out for 15 minutes to just drop off some information is a complete waste.
Yeah.
Send them out for an hour and a half for a chat, because they're gonna spend an hour and a half getting ready. They may as well actually be on the field for a decent length of time.
Yeah. Helen's asked, does it cause problems when you have specific plot for someone and they can't be found or aren't attending?
It can do, but we try very hard these days not to target an unnamed individual. If we can instead target a group or a collection of individuals or whatever for exactly that reason.
Okay.
Like we've had a few instances, and thankfully it's normally for like diplomats or things like that, so they've normally got a named second that we can funnel things to. It does occasionally cause issues.
For things like diplomats, it's often a scheduled meeting in advance, so even if it's not so much us going around the field looking for the person, it's we turn up at the place and somebody turns up to meet with us.
Yeah, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So, if, say, there was an NPC there to meet my character, but for some reason I'm indisposed or something like that, I'm just not in the field, you'd know the name of my group. So you would then be able to send someone along to the group and just say, right, this is for this person. Just go, can you give them this, that, and that?
Or you would know about it in advance and you could have told
Yeah.
one of your friends, go to this meeting for me.
Yeah.
It's one of the good things about the coming to Anvil, Winds of Fortune, is we'll tend to name, oh, this person's coming to see this person's coming to see this person, and it does give people the opportunity to go, I'm not going to be at that event.
Yeah.
Can we reschedule, or can you send it to somebody else? It's
Makes sense.
It's not it's not perfect, but it gives us a chance to still send the plot out.
Yeah, because I had mine with the Challenge the Iron Duke, where the entire encounter had been set up for me, but someone had obviously not told the NPC crew that my character was dead.
Yes.
So my character was killed with an unfortunate ref incident. So there was a lot of back and forth between Matt P, refs, and everything like that. So I was literally just sat in the middle of the field not knowing whether I was coming or going. So, but it all got sorted. It was all good in the end. But I then had a herald turn up all angry, like, you are not there, and stuff like that. It's like, don't know who you're looking for, mate. It's just like, oh, okay.
I think Challenge the Iron Duke is one of the ones that sort of by its very nature has to be named individuals.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's mostly Mike dealing with those these days, and Mike puts in a lot of effort to try and track people down.
Yeah, it's not,
and to get them to come to him.
Yeah, it's not criticism on him or anything like that. It's when the focus is so heavily on one individual, then you are reliant on said individual.
If we're just writing a thing completely fresh, we can say, this is for this title holder, and also these other people who might be interested. But if it's something where the people who cast this ritual are the ones we're targeting, then nothing you can do about that.
No. There was a question from Bolam. I can't find it. It was a really good one. Can someone go back and have a look for me to see if they can fish it out? It's about resources, and see if someone can fish it out for me, because I want to read that one. It was a really good one, which is a shock really, because it's from Bolam. So Nick's asked, are permanent NPCs like the orcs in the League going to be a continued trend?
Unknown. You would have to ask Matt. I would guess probably not. The Apulian orcs were a very special edge case for a variety of reasons. And the ones we've already got are going to stick around for a while. But I don't think it's likely that we'd do it for just any random plot. But that would be a Matt decision.
Right, okay, that's cool. So Bolam's question was, what's the most expensive... Sorry, I dribbled. Excuse me. Thanks, Chris. What's the most expensive bit of plot or role that you've played, be it kit or other resources you've needed for it? I've really read that horribly. What's the most expensive bit of plot or role that you've played, be it kit or other resources, resource you needed for it? Yeah, because there's punctuation in it that I just ignored.
Is that asking about OC costs?
I would say icy cost because, well, either or really, because I know a PD do help. They PD buy a lot of kit in, don't they?
Yeah,
so...
mostly stuff is OC stuff is provided by PD. Although I did make my own stuff for the Apulian Orc character because I just got too keen. But I see the biggest resources that I've had. I did go out on a roll where I was carrying 300 thrones. I then brought 300 thrones back off the field. I can't actually remember why I had to have 300 thrones on me, but I did. That was years ago now.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything I've done specifically. I think it's...
Thanks, Chris. Everyone holds Steve back. I've got more money than that anyway. It's fine. So it's a Beth, have you not got involved in or done anything that's been really like out there where you've come into the field with stupid amounts of stuff?
No, like I've gone onto the field with weird magical artifacts that weren't necessarily worth things, but had big impact.
Okay.
But no, nothing. I shy away from anything involving large amounts of money because I'm really bad at maths.
That's fair.
So, yeah, no, I can't think of anything like that particularly. Like, obviously, I see encounters go out with like stacks of resources and stuff, and go, oh god, I'm gonna have to count that back in. But
yeah, it's not that common. Like
no,
as a
it's not,
percentage of encounters. Most encounters go out with like 18 rings as drinks money or cake money, and because NPCs out on the field want to have a nice cup of tea and a cake.
That's really good. I really like the idea of, because knowing that kids will be coming up to you going, do you want a biscuit? It's like,
but occasionally the plot calls for, you are the wealthiest investor from such and such a place, and you've brought huge amounts of orichalcum or whatever, and you're just going to have a bag full of the stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
I've walked off the field with large amounts of stuff, but never walked onto the field.
Cool. That's cool. Let's... So there's that one. Curtis has just realised he needs to do his E4 feedback. I'd be tempted to NPC post Curtis Busy Snake. Claire will say no to me on principle, so you're safe. I don't know what that was about referring to. I need to. I think I'm slowly catching up. If you could bring something into the game that does not already exist through your NPC activities, what would it be?
I sort of already did.
Are you able to talk about it, or is that...
Leaguish orcs.
It was the what?
It was Leaguish orcs. It wasn't a deliberate... I didn't set out to do that, it just happened. But, no, I can't think of anything that I would want to, add to the world or anything like that.
No. Okay.
I think everybody's doing pretty well on their own.
Yeah. See, that's one of the things I really like. It's like you don't just have to wait for PD plot, because if you listen to certain encounters, NPCs or things like that, there is so much that goes on around it that you can come up with your own stuff to do, and you can get everybody involved in that as well. So you don't need NPCs for it. So
we literally got feedback for something that was entirely player instigated and run
That's
a couple of
awesome.
events ago.
That's
That was
really cool.
fantastic.
Yeah, people just assuming it must have been plot because
Yeah.
it was so big and impactful, but it was entirely players.
Yeah, yeah. Because one of the things that goes on around me at Empire is that a lot of people, because I'm quite loud, I'm quite bolshy, and I'm happy to get involved in anything, go and talk to anyone, is that people seem to expect plot is just with me. Nah, I make up so much of my own stuff, and a lot of stuff that I'm forcing my hall to get involved in, it's all plot that's just been, has come from, all of it came from the NPC, from an NPC at the Calavasi like vision thing that went on last event. So I don't want to put my feedback for that vision thing on stream, because some of it was great, some of it was god awful. But I mean, I've been to like 20 of them, so it's like I think I'm a bit spoiled with a lot of it. It's been amazing, and then but it's definitely not the worst either. So, but yeah, I think that's what happens to everybody. You get to a certain point of, well, it wasn't as good as this bit of plot. It's like, yeah.
Calavasi Vision Time is responsible for my worst experience on the Empire field.
Really? Tell us about that. I'm curious about that.
I was dressed as a troll, the troll costume.
Oh, fuck.
The troll costume is quite uncomfortable at
certain
times. The eye hole is also the mouth hole, so you can either be looking or breathing, and you have to sort of alternate between the two. And it's hidden in the beard, so there's kind of wispy hair that you're sort of breathing through and looking through. And the encounter was in the dark in the woods because it's Calavasi Vision Time. I was told to get ready quite a while in advance, so I was wearing this thing for about an hour before the vision even happened. I couldn't see my own feet, so I was having to be guided through the woods. I then did the thing, which went fairly well. You know, the actual vision was fine. Then the vision ended, and all of the players sat around to have a chat about it. So all the lights had gone off. I'm stood there next to a tree, just waiting in this uncomfortable costume. At which point, some kind of insect landed on my eye. I couldn't reach my face. I couldn't, like, I've got these big rubber gloves on. I've got a big mask on. I can't get at my face at all, and I can't move because I'll fall over. And it's dark, and there's something on my head. It was a nightmare.
What was on your face?
It's just like a midge or something.
Oh, okay. I mean, it could have been so much worse.
Oh yeah, no, it was just unpleasant. Since then I've written a plot that included a troll, and I played it myself because I didn't want to inflict that on anyone else.
Some of those big costumes are not the comfiest.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's essentially a hiking backpack with a costume built on top of it. So you're wearing this harness that has everything just projecting up from the top of it.
Yeah. I've worn it. Going back to the good old days of when you used to be able to turn up to Monster and say, "You got any big monsters left?" And they'd go, "You'd fit in that. You'd fit in that," and that was it. So I think the actual picture to the server is, I always get them wrong, the name of them wrong. They're like a tyrannid type thing. Chat will tell me who it is, but it's always wrong. They had big claws. They were purple. It was like a big onesie thing.
Know what I think they're called, but I'm not going to say it just in case I'm wrong and someone tells me I'm wrong.
So they're in the Warhammer world. I can't think what they're called. Come on, chat, you're letting me down. What do you think they're called? Because I will, because I'll remember it as soon as I hear it.
No, because I'm now doubting myself.
Oh, Trogi?
Oh, Trigoni.
Trigoni, that's the one. Yeah, the Trigoni.
They're all gone now.
Yeah.
They were so much fun. They were a lot of fun to play. I really, really enjoyed that in a fight. The only downside to that was I had to get cut out of it So I got pushed over from behind, and a Dornish knight, in his full bastard suit of armour, decided to jump on my knee. So it was like the size of a balloon. So the paramedics actually had to come over and cut me out of it. And they sent a message to the person who made it saying, "We're really sorry, but this suit is ruined." Because I had to get fully cut out of it because I couldn't move.
That's awful.
So it was great fun. When you look back at it, at the time, not so much.
Yeah.
So
Not how you weekend to be going.
no, but it could be. I mean, you could be inside one of like the war rhinos or something like that. I mean, that's just.
I've done one of the Dryad costumes in the Hall of Worlds at the height of summer. That was
brutal.
That was horrific.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
We were standing around in the back area waiting to go in.
Mm.
And it was so that there's like a little tent at the back of the Worlds where we gather before we go in, and we were all just dousing ourselves in water to try and keep cooling. Horrific.
Yeah. So as NPCs and stuff like that, and doing stuff all this behind the scenes, you do take the brunt of a lot of the worst weather. Because whereas like if it's pissing down with rain or it's boiling sunshine, we get to just sit in a tent. Whereas I guess you've all got plot to deliver. You've all got stuff to put out there.
I think the skirmish crew have it worse than us.
Yeah.
Because they've got out in that weather.
Mm.
Whereas, we've got to go out, but we can take it slow, particularly in the heat. We can take it slow and hide in someone's tent. But there was, I can't remember when it was, a few years back when there was, at the time, a horrendous heat wave. Probably compares favourably to every event this year, but when there was all the plots on the whiteboard that were going anywhere near the Orcs or Navarre were signed up immediately because everyone wanted to be in the trees.
Yeah, I mean, you do a lot, and I think it is fair to say that a lot of people don't realise how much work you actually put into doing everything. Thank you for the bits, Dolly. It's I will add that the thing at the top there. One of the wheels has fallen off of my chair, so if I lean forward too far, I am going to land on my face. So yeah.
That costs extra.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So sorry, go on.
No. As I say, for all that we do have to deal with all the hideous weather, we are looked after pretty well. So we do have the supply of cold water and ice pops, and we do have paddling pool to cool our feet off in, and we have plenty of shade. And no one yells at me when I say that no, I'm not sending people out in 8 layers of costume because I don't want them all coming back with heat stroke.
No.
So
no.
Yeah, and you've shuffled things around so that people aren't going out in the worst heat of the day sometimes as well, when things can.
Yeah.
Sometimes we will rejig things so that we're not sending people out in the heat of the day, or if we're having a sudden downpour, gust of wind, we're about to lose some tents or something, like no, we'll postpone this for an hour or so. And
yeah.
And hey, it makes perfect sense for the NPCs to arrive and say, "Sorry, we're late. We were delayed by the storm."
It works. It really does. Do you ever get moments when you've got NPCs and things, and where it's like, this is, I suppose, mainly for Beth, where you're looking at it and you're thinking, right, and it says this person is a very angry, loud, shouty person. Do you think, oh, it's got to be that person. He has to play this NPC. And then you think, right, this person's like...
I will never force a role on someone. Especially not based on, like, oh, they need to be a shouty person. I will say we have a lot of shouty female and non-binary crew members as well, so...
So I didn't mean it to be gendered. It was just a
I know. It's the automatic thing is, oh, there's a shouty role. It's probably going to be a bloke. We do like to make sure that we moosh our roles around the gender spectrum. But no, there are some people who are very good at specific things. And I know there are some people who like specific roles.
Bits for the chair
So I will
gods.
kind of be like, you want this? You not want this? I think you'd be good at it, kind of thing. And that's also where precasting works quite well, because I will sometimes get emails going, or a message going, can you recommend me someone for this role? And provided I'm about 90% sure that they're going to be at the event, I can be like, yeah, I think Rowan will be good, or Dan, or John, or Kess, or Cat, or we have too many cats on the team.
I mean, it's how I found out that I was doing quite well at the diplomacy side of things. I'd done a few of them. I keep hitting my microphone. I'd done a few of them amongst other different plots, and then there was one that came up that's like, the writer was saying, I need someone who can do diplomacy, and Beth said, Rowan's free, he's quite good at that sort of thing.
That's good. That's really good. It's nice to see that it's not all just a case of we have this plot free, we have this NPC free, you're free, go do plot thing.
Occasionally that does happen. There are certain times of an event where I'm like, I've got 3 roles and 2 NPCs, and somehow we're going to have to make this work. And it does mean that sometimes people go out doing things that they don't particularly enjoy. And I've had to do it, and I know Rowan's had to do it, and it does suck.
But then, like, if you think about it from a player perspective as well, players spend a lot of their event doing the things that they really enjoy doing at the event, and some of the time doing prep work for that, or doing a favour for a friend, or whatever. That's not the thing they enjoy most about the event, but it's part of making the whole thing work, so they do it. And it's the same thing for us.
Yeah.
But with a bit more of an obligation, because we're being fed and watered.
Yeah, that's true. True. Thank you for the bits, Chris. 100 bits for the chair gods. It's wonderful. Thank you for the bits, Jazz.
Bits for the wheels/chair gods.
Right, what else have we got? What are the downsides to NPCing? That's a good one.
Take down.
I mean, if you enjoy the sort of long-term goals and ambitions thing, you're not going to get that from NPCing. Particularly, I mean, you might play a recurring NPC role, but you're not going to be doing the sort of, I'm a starting character and I intend to be senator by the end of the year. If that's the game you enjoy, then you're not going to get that. It's not a thing that appeals to me, so I'm happy to not be doing that.
You're not necessarily going to see the outcomes of what you're doing.
No.
You're not necessarily going to see that in any other way other than people's froth posts on Facebook or something. So,
yeah, we and PD in general are remarkably blind to what happens as fallout for a plot. And actually, again, it goes back to that leverage thing. The way we run plots is that an NPC goes out, throws some stuff at some players and says, you deal with this, and then leaves. And we have no idea what happens to it after that, other than specific levers. If a Senate motion is passed, or a synod judgment, or a winged messenger is sent back to the NPC, we know that that's happened. We don't know about the hours and hours of conversation that happened. We don't know about who was killed to facilitate the thing. We don't know about, other than seeing people chatting about it afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, but I suppose that's kind of good in a way as well, because it means that you don't get overly invested in what you're doing to the point of where you want the closure of it as well. So
I describe NPCing at Empire a lot like GMing for tabletop game. Even though you're the NPC rather than the writer, the writer is essentially writing a campaign module, but the NPC is GMing it because you're reacting to the players on the fly, that kind of thing.
yeah,
But when you're GMing a tabletop game, you get to see the whole process. You get to see how it resolves. You get to celebrate with your players or commiserate with them after the fact, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Whereas this is like GMing the first half of a campaign and then just stepping away and maybe hearing some rumors about it afterwards. Which is good fun in its own way, but you don't necessarily get the resolution.
No,
you can't be invested in specific outcomes particularly.
no.
I think seen people get invested, and it kind of sours their NPCing experience as well, because they want to know what's going on in a certain thing, and they can't control it. So it's quite frustrating. I do get that.
Yeah. Thanks for the bits, Joe. It's doing well. I think for me, I think NPCing would be fun, but I think if it's a nice, big, juicy piece of plot, I think the GM in me wants to see the outcome as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think that would be a bit difficult on that front, which is a bit of a shame, but
as I say, you get to see the broad strokes of the outcome. You know whether a skirmish was successful. You know whether a mission was passed, but you don't get to see the juicy role playing and drama that goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for NPCs then, I suppose for them it's literally set up and then head off to Monster, and that's where their weekend starts, and they'll have, I suppose, you've got a whiteboard with names and like you're doing this NPC.
So we have a whiteboard with all the plots written down. So all the plots have titles and a time slot. And then people attach their names to a plot. Hopefully. And then go from there.
That's good.
Some of our lot are red caps as well, so they're doing setup.
Yeah.
Then they have a briefing and say hi to everybody on a Friday afternoon and remind everybody of the rules of NPCing that they all know better than I do at this point. And then it's just on with the show.
Excellent. So I tend to only go for like 60 to 90 minutes, and we've been going for nearly an hour and a half now. So definitely on the longer end of the streams, which is really, really good. You know, well, a stream's gone if it goes on for the full time, and that. So I would just say, don't cancel the call or anything like that, because the amount of people I say, yeah, we'll end it there, and then they just leave the call. The worst perpetrator for that is actually Matt P. So, we've answered your question, Bolam. That's what you did wrong. I'm not sure I'd be able to handle NPCing Valorn Tarunial stuff. It would wind me up. So Curtis is the advisor to the Valorn in Navarre. So
maybe don't.
Yeah.
I think we've had a few people who've been playing a really established character that's got their teeth into something, and then died or retired or whatever, and move over to NPCing, and everyone seems to want to just do other things, just try something different, do something completely different. It's definitely the way.
It's a huge game at the end of the day, isn't it? It's massive. So yeah, get involved into other things. So it's like with what I mentioned beforehand. I'd already been told I'm not allowed to do that for Navarre or Wintermark. So, and that was it. Shucks, never mind. So, but it's all fun at the end of the day, and so you would recommend everybody get involved NPCing, because it gives you a very different perspective to the game as a whole.
It's not for everybody, but yeah.
I'm trying to big it up, Beth. Come on, work with me here.
I want to manage expectations.
I would say if what we've been talking about sounds like it's your kind of thing, then maybe
it really does.
If what we've been talking about sounds like, oh, it's interesting to know how it works behind the scenes, but I still think I prefer playing, it's probably not for you. But if you've been hearing what we're saying and going, ooh, that does sound fun, then give it a go.
Yeah,
I work in customer expectation management. Don't expect me to.
I think the best way to describe it would be, if you're still playing and you don't know what you want out of the game, NPCing would be perfect for you for a time.
Yeah.
Because you get to see a lot of different other areas of the game.
Yeah.
And that, so obviously growing a beard helps as well.
Entirely optional.
Entirely optional. So, so Beth, Rowan, thank you so much for coming on. I know it was very much we'd never met each other before this, and
It's the beauty of LARP. You meet so many new weird people.
emphasis on the weird, definitely. It's been a lot of fun.
I've occasionally met some normal people in that field, and it's very strange.
Wait, where?
And sometimes you bump into someone, you're just like, you're very not weird. Why?
Yes, how dare
They
you be
lost.
normal? Varun from
hefty thumbs, hefty thumbs, hefty thumbs, hefty
that was
thumbs.
the weirdest. Every time I get a bits donation, if someone's typed something and I get it in my ear, and it will say it probably out loud on the stream as well. And that was just hefty yeti thumbs, hefty yeti thumbs. It's just a little emote of me going. That's it. It's the weirdest sound I've ever heard.
You know you're going to get that exclusively from now on. Everyone's just
I'm going to turn it off. It's fine. Varun from Navarre says, is it possible to get some NPC plot as a civil servant? I think being a civil servant is plot, is an NPC, isn't it?
Yeah.
So sometimes NPCs go out as civil servants, and I could imagine there being a plot that involves existing civil servants, but probably you would have to specifically ask for it because plot writers won't want to disturb your very busy civil servant schedule. So.
Civil servants are always busy. They're never not. It's crazy. I don't think I could be a civil servant. I think that's a part of the game where...
Yeah, I've never understood the appeal of spending your weekend doing admin, but apparently it's great fun for the people who like it.
Not much plot, I assure you. Well, I know someone who has become a civil servant and he absolutely loves it, and they absolutely love it. Sorry.
Again, everyone has different tastes. You do the thing that appeals most to you, and for most people that's playing the game, and for a lot of people that's crewing, but for each different crew department it suits different people.
It's not for everyone. Yeah, and for some people like Matt P, it's running the whole show. Crazy.
He went out on the field as several NPCs at one of the events last year, and he was really happy. He was like, I haven't actually got to be role playing all that much recently. So.
Oh yeah.
I have to try and find him.
Well, yes, yeah. One of the NPCs that he went out as was an Apulian orc, and he was out to do half an hour chatting about religion, and I found him in a tent 2 hours later chatting about military. So
Makes sense. Oh, that's good to know, though. It's good to hear that does get to escape briefly, and just get to do.
They do all get to escape at various times.
Because I bumped into him NPCing in Wintermark, and that was a lot of fun. But I think there was something. Yeah, I think there was other things going on, and he wanted to be there. But yeah, that's not here to spitballs about that one. It's all just very much. The NPCs are great, and I think on behalf of chat, I know they'd agree with me. You all do a great job there, and if it wasn't for a lot of you, then. Well, if it wasn't for you, then nothing would be happening in the field, so it'd be really boring.
I'm sure someone would stab someone else and start a war or something.
Yes, I know, but I can only stab so many people. And believe me, I've tried. There's no need to cast aspersions when it's the truth. But thank you both so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it, and it's been so much fun. To chat to you, because being the NPCs part of it is something that I didn't really know much about, so getting to chat away has been a lot of fun, and it's been really eye-opening. So, everyone in chat, thank you for coming along to watch this. Ask questions and be weird in our own little weird way. It has been phenomenal. We've got to witness the one with the hair, the one with the beard, and the one with the bald. I like that. See, that's stuck
I'm
with
working on it. I'm joining you soon.
But on a side note, I think many people will say congratulations because Rowan is about to become a father as well. So it doesn't matter. It's still great.
Yes, but the phrasing makes it sound like it's. But yeah.
Please, can we raid the Irish island, Steve? He supports so many people with mental. I will. I don't think I follow him. Is it all one word?
Some bizarre Twitch thing.
Yeah, what we can after a stream. Oh, so I don't know why I was typing it onto that one because it's on this one. After a stream, you can basically take the people watching and go and raid another stream, so they get to see other cool people. And as a community, we try to raid people who do good things and are positive and that. So, what was it the Irish island? I think. If it doesn't appear, then it'll be the Irish island. Yeah, they're there. So we're going to go and raid the Irish island. I don't know. There's a cat on screen at the moment and a carrot. We're done. That's mental. So, but yeah. So thank you both for coming on. Thank you, chat, for being there and doing all of that sort of stuff. Go and give the Irish island some love. Yeah, and be awesome. And I'll see everybody on Monday. So, see you later, everybody. Take care. All right.